Our story takes us back in time to the ancient land of Egypt, a land of pharaohs and pyramids, of vast deserts and the life-giving Nile. Egypt in its time was a beacon of civilization, a place of power and grandeur. Imagine a society built on the backs of slaves, where the pharaoh's word was law. The Egyptians were known for their advancements in mathematics, astronomy, and engineering. Their monuments and tombs still stand today, a testament to their ingenuity and skill. But beneath the surface of this magnificent civilization lay a darker truth. The prosperity of Egypt was built on the backs of slaves, people forced into servitude. It is within this world, a world of both splendor and suffering, that our story begins. A story of faith, courage, and the indomitable spirit of a people yearning for freedom. Welcome to Bible Stories and Chronicles channel. If you like to hear beautiful stories from Bible, please subscribe to the channel and like this video. Thank you. Centuries before our story unfolds, a man named Jacob, also known as Israel, migrated with his family to Egypt. Seeking refuge from famine, they were welcomed by the Pharaoh of that time. The Israelites, as they came to be known, were a pastoral people, skilled in animal husbandry and agriculture. They lived in peace and prosperity in Egypt, their numbers steadily increasing. Generations passed, and the Israelites grew into a large and thriving community within Egypt. They maintained their unique culture, their traditions, and their faith in God. However, the passing of time also brought about a change in the political landscape of Egypt. A new pharaoh who knew not Joseph came to power. This new pharaoh saw the growing Israelite population with suspicion and fear. He perceived them as a threat, a potential enemy within Egypt's borders. Fear, a powerful motivator, often leads to irrational actions. And so it was with this pharaoh. He resolved to diminish the Israelites' strength, to break their spirit, and to enslave them. The Israelites, once welcomed guests, were now forced into servitude. They were subjected to hard labor, building cities and monuments for the glory of the pharaoh. Their lives, once filled with freedom and promise, were now bound by chains of oppression. Despite the hardship and humiliation, the Israelites clung to their faith. They whispered prayers to their God, a God who had promised them deliverance. Their faith, passed down through generations, became a source of strength and solace in their darkest hour. The Pharaoh, however, remained unmoved by their plight. His fear continued to grow with the increasing numbers of the Israelites. And it is from this fear, this toxic seed of prejudice, that a truly horrific decree would arise. A decree that would forever stain the pages of history. A decree that would target the most vulnerable among the Israelites, their newborn sons. The Pharaoh's fear festered, a poisonous seed taking root in his heart. He saw the growing Israelite population as a threat to his power. Fear blossomed into a dark decree. He declared the Israelites too numerous. Drastic measures were needed. Word spread like wildfire, fear gripping the Israelites. The decree was a declaration of war. Life under oppression. The Pharaoh's decree was ruthlessly enforced. The Israelites, once skilled shepherds, were now slaves, forced to labor under the scorching sun, building grand monuments. Gone were the days of peace and harmony. Their lives were now backbreaking labor. Each brick symbolized their oppression, yet their spirit remained unbroken. They found solace in their faith, whispering prayers in the fields. The burden weighed heavily but did not crush them. They knew their God had not forsaken them. They held on to the promise of a better future. A glimmer of hope. The midwives Shiphrah and Puah. Amidst oppression, a glimmer of hope emerged from two Hebrew midwives, Shiphrah and Puah. Tasked with assisting births, they defied the Pharaoh's cruel decree. Guided by faith, they chose compassion over obedience. Their defiance offered hope and ensured the survival of their people. The Pharaoh's frustration, a cruel decree thwarted. Time marched on, and Pharaoh watched with growing unease. The Israelite population continued to flourish. Whispers of newborn sons reached his ears. His plan was failing. The midwives defied his will. They undermined his authority. His advisors trembled before him. How could they explain the defiance? The midwives became symbols of hope. Their compassion was a powerful force. Shiphrah and Puah protected the innocent. Their actions bolstered the Israelite spirits. The Pharaoh's frustration grew. He underestimated the power of faith. He misjudged the strength of these women. Word reached Shiphrah and Puah that Pharaoh demanded their presence. They knew the risks, understood the potential consequences of defying a king. Yet, they walked with heads held high, their steps firm, their resolve unshaken. They entered the grand hall, a place of intimidating grandeur, and stood before the mighty Pharaoh. "Why?" boomed Pharaoh, his voice echoing off the cold stone walls. "Why do you defy my decree? Why do you allow these Hebrew boys to live?" The courtiers gasped, their faces pale with fear. No one dared question Pharaoh, let alone defy him. Yet these two women, midwives, stood before him, their composure unwavering. Shiphrah, her voice calm yet firm, addressed Pharaoh. "Your Majesty," she began, her tone respectful yet laced with a subtle defiance that did not escape Pharaoh's notice. "We are but humble midwives. We are not like the Egyptian women, we are Hebrew women, and we know our people." The tension in the hall was palpable. A single misspoken word, a flicker of fear in their eyes could spell their doom. Yet, Shiphrah and Puah stood their ground, their courage fueled by a higher purpose, their hearts filled with a belief in a power greater than Pharaoh himself. "Hebrew women," Shiphrah continued, her voice steady, "are strong. They deliver their babies quickly before we even arrive." She paused, gauging Pharaoh's reaction. He listened intently, his face an unreadable mask. Was he buying their explanation? Or was he merely humoring them before unleashing his wrath? Puah, sensing a need to bolster their claim, added, "By the time we reach them, Your Majesty, the child is already born. It is simply our way." Her voice held a hint of innocent bewilderment, as if she couldn't comprehend why this was even a matter of discussion. Their explanation, while simple, held a ring of truth. It played upon the cultural differences between the Egyptians and the Hebrews, exploiting Pharaoh's ignorance of their customs. It offered a plausible explanation, one that, if they were fortunate, might just appease the king's suspicions. The silence in the hall stretched on, each tick of the palace clock amplifying the tension. Shiphrah and Puah held their breaths, their hearts pounding in their chests. Their lives, and the lives of countless Hebrew boys, hung precariously in the balance, dependent on the whims of a king blinded by fear and suspicion. Pharaoh seemed to accept their explanation. He dismissed them with a wave of his hand. They had survived, but their ordeal was far from over. Word of their defiance spread through the Israelite community. Shiphrah and Puah became symbols of hope. They had dared to defy Pharaoh to protect the innocent. Pharaoh's cruelty ignited a spark of resistance. His actions set in motion events leading to his downfall. The story of Shiphrah and Puah is a testament to courage. It reminds us that hope can blossom in the darkest times. Even the most vulnerable can rise to meet extraordinary challenges. A river runs red, Pharaoh's desperate measure. Pharaoh's frustration festered, his anger simmering like the relentless desert sun. The midwives had outwitted him, their defiance a constant thorn in his side. His first attempt to curb the Israelite population had failed, leaving him humiliated and enraged. He paced his chambers, his mind racing, searching for a solution. His advisors, fearful of his wrath, offered only timid suggestions. Then, in a moment of chilling clarity, a new plan formed in his mind. He would drown his fears, literally, in the lifeblood of the Nile. He would turn the river, the very source of life for his people, into a watery grave for the innocent. He summoned his advisors, his voice cold and resolute as he issued his horrific decree. His words, heavy with malice, hung in the air, a death knell for the hopes and dreams of an entire people. The Nile, once a symbol of life and prosperity, would now flow red with the blood of innocents. Whispers of terror, fear, grips the Israelites. Word of Pharaoh's horrific decree spread like wildfire through the Israelite community, carried on the wind, whispered from neighbor to neighbor, its chilling message seeping into their homes, their hearts, their very souls. Fear, palpable and suffocating, tightened its grip on them. Mothers clung to their newborn sons, their hearts pounding in their chests, their minds frantically searching for a way out of this nightmare. The cries of infants, once a source of joy and hope, now echoed with an undercurrent of terror. The weight of their oppression, already a heavy burden to bear, became unbearable, crushing their spirits, their faith, their very will to survive. How could they possibly defy a king who waged war on their most vulnerable, who sought to extinguish their future by stealing the lives of their sons? Yet, even in their darkest hour, a flicker of hope remained. They whispered prayers to their God, a God who had seen their suffering, who had heard their cries, who had promised them deliverance. They clung to their faith, a lifeline in a sea of despair, believing that even Pharaoh's cruelty could not extinguish the flame of hope that burned within their hearts. Courage in the face of tyranny, the moral compass. The stories in Exodus chapter 1 are timeless reminders of the human spirit's resilience. They challenge us to confront the darkness within ourselves and the world. Even in overwhelming adversity, courage can bloom unexpectedly. Shiphrah and Puah, the Hebrew midwives, embody this courage. They faced a choice: obey a tyrant or risk their lives. They chose righteousness, guided by faith and belief in life. Their courage is a beacon, reminding us we shape our destiny. Their story challenges us to raise our voices against injustice. Shiphrah and Puah remind us we are not alone in our struggles. Throughout history, countless individuals have stood against tyranny. Their stories inspire us to be the change we wish to see. Resistance in the face of oppression, the seeds of change. The stories of Exodus. Chapter 1 are not just about individual acts of courage or faith, they are about the seeds of resistance being sown in the hearts of an oppressed people. Pharaoh's tyranny, intended to break their spirits, instead ignited a spark of defiance, a determination to survive, to resist, to one day be free. The Midwives' Defiance, the whispers of hope and faith shared amongst the Israelites. These were not isolated incidents but acts of resistance that chipped away at the foundation of Pharaoh's power. Their story reminds us that resistance can take many forms, from quiet acts of defiance to collective movements that challenge the status quo. It reminds us that even the most oppressive systems are not invincible. They can be challenged, they can be changed, they can be overthrown. The Israelites' story is a powerful reminder that the fight for justice is often long and arduous, but it is a fight worth fighting, for every act of resistance, however small, plants a seed of hope that can one day blossom into a future free from oppression. Echoes of Exodus, a timeless message. The stories of Exodus chapter 1, though set in ancient Egypt, resonate deeply with our modern world. They remind us that the struggle for freedom, justice, and equality is a timeless one. They challenge us to confront the pharaohs in our own time, the systems of oppression that continue to marginalize and dehumanize. The courage of Shiphrah and Puah, the resilience of the Israelite people, these stories serve as a beacon of hope, reminding us that even in the darkest of times the human spirit yearns for freedom, for justice, for a world where all beings are treated with dignity and respect. As we navigate the complexities of our modern world, let us carry the lessons of Exodus in our hearts. Let us find the courage to stand up for what is right, the faith to believe in a better future, and the unwavering commitment to resist all forms of oppression, so that one day, the echoes of Exodus will be heard not as a tale of suffering, but as a testament to the human spirit's enduring capacity for love, hope, and the relentless pursuit of freedom. We will continue with another beautiful story from Bible in our next video. Subscribe so that you will not miss it. Thanks for watching.